Let me break this down for you with an example. Suppose a 50 billion won artwork initially came to a chairman. Let's just use this as an example. So don't go saying, did such a thing really happen? When the mass is large, one brings something correspondingly expensive, something worth talking about for them to like it. There are people who deliver these things. Just as there are matchmakers when introducing people, there are matchmakers who deliver artworks. These people explain it extensively. Once you grow to a certain size, you naturally become interested in culture. Hearing the story, they say it costs about this much, so you tell them to bring it if it fits your financial situation. And so it is brought. When something this precious comes to you, what happens? It feels so good. When it feels good, what happens? The work you do outside goes well. When a 50 billion won piece comes in, even at the very least, an income of 500 billion won comes in. While you possess this and like it, your affairs unfold so well that you can earn 100 billion, 500 billion, or even several trillion won. While you like it, your work goes well. However, as time goes on up to a certain point, the energy gets absorbed. Then, even though it's visible right in front of you, you just walk past it. It is no longer so good. So what happens? Now its mass for you has ended. Its power to give energy has ended. Then where does it go? It goes to the back. It either gets displayed over there or goes into the warehouse. It goes there, but from that point on, things don't work out. That's when another matchmaker comes, an artwork matchmaker. By that time, this chairman would have grown, wouldn't he? So at that point, bringing a 50 billion won piece won't even catch his eye. That's why they bring a 500 billion won piece. The world says it's worth 500 billion won, and the way they explain it has to be absolutely mesmerizing. So he goes, "Oh, is that so?" and accepts it. It feels so good. Now, massive things start happening in his work. That is what is called the law of mass. When energy is lacking, pull the energy up. When pulling it up, if something extremely precious in the world is given to you, you feel so good about it. Through this, you keep rising. That's why work goes well. Your economy has been elevated by that much, and you have grown this much. Once you grow to a certain point, the mass of this artwork becomes weak to you. At that time, it goes to the back. There was a time when we grew as these kinds of things repeated. But if you had used this well, what would have happened? Was this the correct way to use it? What you hoarded, this was not used correctly. If you had opened your wisdom while you were liking this so much, other directors were envious. But the time when you liked this so much has ended, right? Then what do you do with this artwork? You bestow it upon a director who does their work well. Bestow it. Because it is something you used to like, if you bestow it, you have already used up all the energy now. So when you bestow it next, you don't feel that regretful. But how will the director feel? I am overwhelmed with gratitude. It feels so good. Because the chairman bestowed it upon me. This is what is meant by a king. A king must know how to bestow things to those below. The heads of large corporations today are modern-day tribal chiefs and kings. If these kings keep things that are so good all to themselves, consume the energy, and push them to the back, the people below them won't have a chance to feel as incredibly good as they did. If my subordinates feel immensely grateful, they will dedicate their body and soul to work for this enterprise. Then this energy flows down and causes the work done there to go well, which strikes back up to the top. Like this, for precious works of art, I should absorb them and then pass them down to make the lower levels joyful. And once they have used it all up there, it goes further down to make the level below them joyful. Things bestowed by a superior are tremendously precious, so they are treated like treasures. In doing so, I grow, you grow, and the people below also grow, which ultimately builds a colossal kingdom of a company. This is how you operate the world of art. That is why these artworks are now piled up in such huge quantities. So now, rather than buying artworks, rather than possessing such things, if you just pile them up, from that point on, the companies only grow to a mediocre size and stop moving. There was a time when things operated this way. Nowadays, for all the artworks that were handled like that, if the company gets hit by the state for something, they just hand them over as compensation. For these artworks that could be used with tremendous mass, If wisdom is not opened, it simply ends with satisfying one's greed. Those are the artworks circulating the world right now. An artwork is not something that should end by entering someone's hands. If it does, it becomes trapped. It becomes a case of the artwork has been trapped. When China was rising rapidly, what kind of thing happened? Way back when the Qing dynasty was rising rapidly, it rose because of bestowing things. Imperial gifts. The ceramics are all imperial gifts that came out of those eras. There were separate places dedicated entirely to making artworks that went into the Qing dynasty imperial court. Everything that went up there was created, and when people came to pay tribute or seek help, imperial gifts were bestowed upon them. Those artworks were made and presented, and when emissaries from those countries came, imperial gifts were bestowed upon them, which is how they all spread across the world. How wonderful must it have been for the countries that received those imperial gifts? This is what it means to know how to operate artworks. Now, the descendants of heaven have fully grown. How we use the artworks in our hands is what rotates the energy. Instead of being greedy, depending on how I operate and utilize what has come into my hands, my future changes. Don't try to sell it off to make money. When the rightful owner appears, make them feel very good and hand it over gracefully. If that person feels happy and their affairs go well, the power of this correctly performed activity will absolutely return to me. You must know how to operate artworks. If you get greedy with artworks, the world grinds to a halt. We have experienced this, yet we fail to read it, unable to untangle it. There was no one who taught us these things. That is why, if you hold on to a good artwork for too long, you go bankrupt. You have to go bankrupt for it to come out. If you go bankrupt, it comes out, so it goes to another person. At that time, the price drops drastically. Do we pay a high price for something that was possessed by a bankrupt person? That's how it turns out. Because people don't even know how to use it. Now they don't give artworks. Even the state forbids it. They make laws to prevent people from giving them. Why? You don't even know how to use it. We have lived through this kind of era, yet we do not know how to read this picture and do not know how to operate it. That is why cultural figures are taking a severe hit right now. They don't count them as artworks. Sharing these kinds of studies together, if you like this, take a piece. If I liked it and paid a high price for it, it is even better. The better it is, the better my affairs unfold. This is how an artwork earns its price. Even when looking around, if I feel like I want to do that one, then I should do it. If you don't do what you want to do, the energy gets completely trapped right there. If you want to do it, how much money you give for it is a comfortable matter. The more expensive it is, the better it is. Accept it with that mindset and take it. When you take it, it feels so good, doesn't it? If it feels good, even if you spent 5 million won here, 50 million won comes in. That is what an artwork is. Therefore, the descendants of heaven are rising up in Korea now and doing a lot of good artwork. However, if there is no one who knows how to use these artworks, no matter how well the artists do, it is of no use. The citizens must awaken. To know how to cherish and love culture means that you have grown. But to be operating it well means that you are becoming a leader. From now on, the parents of our society should not just try to make money, but become people who know how to enjoy culture. If you enjoy culture, your economy creates itself. The work you do rotates on its own. If you don't know culture, it means your mass has grown less. It becomes like that. Having your eyes open to culture means your mass has become high. Therefore, as much as the mass is high, energy comes to you, and any work goes well by that much. Does God pour energy into someone with weak mass? There is no such thing. Having high eyes refers to that kind of thing. By opening our eyes to culture and reaching that point, we are now becoming cultural figures, leaders who know how to use culture. In order for the Republic of Korea to rise again in the future, we must now open our eyes to culture, know how to like what is good. We must open our hearts to this, whether it is small or large, things whose mass fit us. You must not overdo it, things that fit. Do you understand? I would like to ask an additional question. I have heard that an era of spirituality, an era of culture and art, is coming in the future. As a result, cultural and artistic products are pouring out tremendously right now. While the art form of music is something we can simply listen to, for the art form of fine art, I believe we can feel it and, as you mentioned, move up a stage only when we acquire it. Nevertheless, when it comes to works of fine art, people seem quite afraid to acquire them, and they seem to think of fine art as a field they do not know, a field difficult for them to acquire. Let me ask a simple question. When we acquire these works of fine art, which are difficult and hard to acquire, should we acquire works that make money, or should we acquire works based on a vague feeling of, I just like this? I would appreciate it if you could unpack this easily. When we pursue what makes money, we are not enjoying culture. We are looking for a commodity. One who looks for a commodity is a merchant. A merchant becoming a great person? That does not exist in the laws of nature. How you handle and enjoy culture is by acquiring what pleases your heart and enjoying it. Currently, money has become the god of the world. Money, 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 they say. However, the fact is that culture is more valuable than this money. We are an energy called spirit. Therefore, we should live spiritually. If you say you live materially, it means you are still a low-grade person, still stagnant there. We live by spiritual power. Then money follows. If my quality has become high, I should live at a high quality. If I have been made to become high quality, yet I live low quality, this is an absolute failure. If we live at high quality, if we have talent or decorate things very well, what happens? We gain popularity among people. If you are popular, people come. Whether the appearance is good, the talent is good, or you have attained a lot, many people come. If you don't know why these people are coming and treat them carelessly, then as time passes, you cannot live your life well because you are weighed down by the people who came. People come so that you can align your capacity with them to do great work. Those people were sent to you, and those connections came so that you can make them live joyfully and very brightly with your capacity. If you fail to do that, you will receive all the consequences for making them waste their time before you go. If people have come to me, they came so that their lives can be completely reborn and become good. And so there are things that person will do to make me good, and things I will do to make that person good. This is how we interact in relationships, interlocked in mutual prosperity. Then, do not try to manufacture getting good people. If you cultivate yourself, when those people come, you will have work to do for them. And when you become a necessary person, you will have popularity and later be respected. These are the things you build up. One's life should be respectable to others. You shouldn't live servilely to others. Therefore, when we deal with things like artworks, rather than definitely buying it with money, if that person likes it so much and I buy it for them, how happy will that person be? Then suppose I bought a 5 million won piece for them, because they like it so much. If that person didn't have the money, so I bought it for them, will that person listen to my words well in the future or not? Will they greet me politely or the same as before? How much do you think this is worth? When people treat me politely, the work I do goes well. People think about operating culture in such a simplistic way. No, it isn't. Depending on how I operate that culture, I can make a person treat me politely. And depending on how I act, there are people who will look at you as if you are nothing. To know how to operate people, there is no one who possesses greater power than such a person. You must become that kind of person. In the midst of that, when they bow politely to me, I feel so good. The feeling of just having that one object versus the feeling of people treating me politely, how much of a difference do you think there is? This energy has an astronomical difference. To be able to make a person bend to me, that I have achieved that, truly amazing things will happen in the future. Now, we shouldn't just think about one thing regarding those matters, but think about multiple things. So, there are superiors above me, and I notice that they like that kind of thing so much. Quickly buy it and present it to them. After presenting it, an immense amount of income arises for me through other avenues. That person has plenty of environments to help me with other things through their influence. Although they do not hold cash right now, the activity power of their surroundings is fully capable of helping me. If you receive that help, this is not just a matter of a 10 million won piece. you can receive help worth at least hundreds of millions from that person. Making the other person feel good, making a superior feel very good, brings a synergy behind it. You must know how to utilize these kinds of things too. That is why the reason we serve our seniors well is because they have various ways to help us. We need to think about these things a bit. I cannot explain everything in a short time, but if you unpack this enjoyably, an immense depth comes out. We must become descendants of heaven who are capable of thinking about these kinds of things. Understand it this way.